So hello everyone. Today, as discussed, I'm going to show you how to redesign this simple flyer using Photoshop. It's quite simple, and we're using some few techniques like create clipping marks and also rasterize layer, duplicating shadow and all that. So kindly do follow to make sure you can design the same thing using Photoshop. So for this, you have in your assets this particular model that we're going to use. So the very first thing we're going to do is to remove the background of this particular model or picture. So I'll simply drag my picture into Photoshop, then come over here to background at the layer section, click on it to unselect it, press Ctrl 0 to zoom into the image. Then now come over here to the left hand side. You can see here we have the magic wand tool. That's the tool we'll be using to remove the background. For those of you using older versions of Photoshop, you wouldn't have this. So I'll share a tutorial on how to remove background with older models. Okay, so I'll use this one specifically. So I'll right click here, choose the magic wand tool, come to select subject, click on it, then the magic happens. Okay, it's taking its time. Yes, so it's selected. I'll come over here to add layer mask, click on it. Voila, the background goes away. So use the image this way. So I'll quickly just export this image as a quick PNG so that we can keep its transparency for the flyer that we're going to design. So I'll quickly just export it into my, let me just put it in pictures folder. Yeah, here, model, so that I can, yeah, so it's done. So for the flyer that we are supposed to create, I recommended that you use the A4 sheet as that. So when you come to create new Photoshop document, the A4 sheet is here. You can just click on it without changing anything. So the name here, I'm going to change to assignment. Okay, then click on create. Sorry, press Ctrl 0 to zoom in. Then with this particular flyer, the very first things that I recommend that you do is to bring in your ruler so that you can know where the text starts and where it ends. So I'll press Ctrl R. Okay, mine is still already here. So if I press Ctrl R, it disappears. So I'll press Ctrl R again so that it comes. Use the move tool, then drag the rule to say here. Okay, then I'm going to start creating my shapes. The very first shapes I'm going to create is those below here, which are just simply rectangles, normal rectangles. So I'll come to the rectangle, the shape tool, right click, choose the rectangle tool, then draw, click and drag. Don't worry about my rectangle, which looks a little bit curved because I'm using, I've done some tricks in and out. But if you have this, quickly come to the right hand side of the properties section, and at the radius, just send it to 0. Then click anywhere here, then it becomes a normal rectangle. Okay, for this, we are using the fill should be yellow. I've already chosen the shade of yellow I'm going to use, so it should be this. And also the stroke, no stroke at all. Okay, then afterwards I'll press Ctrl T to reduce the size a little bit. Ctrl T. Make sure this ribbon here is unchecked so that you can actually distort the rectangle a little bit. This one here. So I'll reduce the size a little bit. Yeah, this should be okay. Press enter. Then afterwards, all you do is to duplicate. So I'll press Ctrl J, drag on top, say here. Then I'll press Ctrl T to resize it. Always make sure this ribbon here is unchecked. Then drag down here. Yeah, reduce to this side. I think it's okay. Just like what we have in this flyer. It's cool. Then afterwards, we press Ctrl J on that same rectangle, the one on top, and drag on top. Yes. Then we'll press Ctrl J again, drag on top. Okay, now you notice that the one we have here is quite small, so we're going to reduce the one on top just the size a little bit. So I'll press Ctrl T with that particular layer selected, press Ctrl T, then reduce the size a little bit. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is to draw this small circles, the ellipse around here, which is actually quite easy if you use duplicates. So we're gonna just we're not going to draw them one after the other. We're just going to use duplicates to achieve that really fast. So I'll come to the tool section, right click on the tools, the shapes, click on the ellipse tool, make sure none of my layers are selected, then choose a particular point and draw a small circle by holding shift and dragging. I think this should be okay. Make sure the fill is same color as we used for the rectangles and there's no stroke as well. Then that's it. Now I'll bring a rule, drag it here to make sure that it's here so that at least my shapes, my circles can begin here as the rectangle starts. Now all we're going to do is something similar to the first one. We're going to duplicate. So press Ctrl J, duplicate, move. Use the arrow on your keyboard to move. Ctrl J on that same one. Oops. Ctrl J on that same one. Use the arrow to move a little bit. Ctrl J, select that next one, Ctrl J, then move a little bit. Okay. Then afterwards, what we're going to do is to group all these shapes that we've created. So there are 4 circles. We don't want to kind of draw them again. So we're simply going to group them. So I'll come to the layer section here. The ellipse 1 copy through is selected and it ends at ellipse 1. So I'll make sure that is selected. Then come to this ellipse 1, hold shift and click ellipse 1. Everything is selected. Now I'll press Ctrl G to make sure it is grouped. Now see, you can actually go back in this section of the video so that you can actually get this particular side well. Then I'll press Ctrl J with that group selected on the layer section, Ctrl J to duplicate it. Now you can see group 1 copy here. Then with the group 1 copy selected, I'll press Ctrl T, then drag this below a little bit here. Not so perfect, but I think that'll do. Then the next thing we're going to do is this shape up here, which is a little bit complicated, but I think we can manage. All right. So with that one, I'll click outside the workspace, then choose rectangle. Okay. Then come on top here. Let me see how it looks like. Okay. So it's like we have to use a rule so that we know where it starts. Say here. So come here to where the rule starts and draw. I'm a little bit lucky that my shape is already circular. But if yours isn't circular, you know how to change it. Kindly come to the properties section and change it from here. Then afterwards, I change the fill to yellow. Remember the shade of yellow I'm using. Then drag it on top. Let me see how it looks like from the original flyer. Yeah, I think not so bad. Then afterwards, I'll duplicate this again. Then drag it to say here. Then I'll press Ctrl J on that same one. And now I'm going to change the color of that particular one rectangle I just created. Remember the third one I've just created. I'm going to change the color to black. Okay, I'm going to change the color to black. Now watch carefully. After I've changed the color to black, with that one selected, I'm going to right click on that particular layer, click on rasterize layer. Now we can edit it. Then afterwards, I'll come to the left hand side, choose the rectangular marquee tool. Let's click on it. Then come here, make sure I draw like from the center of this. I'll simply draw this over here. Now watch carefully. With this one drawn over this, Okay, let me shift it a little bit. Let me go over it again. Oops, that didn't work. So what I'm supposed to do is, okay, it's still selected. I'll come over here, make sure I go to the middle here, draw this over around here, use the arrow to bring it a little bit so that it is almost cast it in half. Then afterwards, with the layer selected, make sure it's on that layer, make sure you rasterize it. I'll click on delete, and that aspect of it will be deleted. Then afterwards, I'll just simply click outside this so that this particular shape, just like we have in the fly here, is created. It's not so perfect, but we need to move on. Okay, then I'll come and click on the move tool again. Now the next shape we are to create is this particular curved rectangle over the model here. So I'll simply draw that one, which is so easy to do. Make sure you click left click outside the workspace in order to do that. So I'll click on the shape, click on the choose rectangle tool, change the fill to yellow, just like what I'll use for all. Then I'll simply come and draw it over it. But let me see how it looks like from the original flyer. Okay, it touches the end. So I'll come here. Let's say here should be fine. Then I'll draw around it this way. Let me look at our flyer again. Yeah, this should be okay. This should be okay. But now you notice that down here, for our original flyer, down here is flat. But then what we've drawn here down here is kind of circular. So we have to change it. And to change it with this particular layer still selected just the way it is, when you come here, you see at the properties section, you see here the radius, just here, 552px and all that. Now, I'm going to make sure this side, original, what we usually do is we simply just change here 0 and to affect everything here. But now I'll press Ctrl Z to see. Now we're just going to change those below here so that it will be like a normal rectangle. So I'll make sure I untick this, is it ribbon or something? It looks like it. Untick it, then come below here to this 552, change it to 0. Then click this one too and change it to 0. Then click anywhere outside here. Then you can see, voila, it looks like what we have on the original flyer. Now the next thing we're going to create is those small circular things around here, which is quite similar to what we did with these yellow ones here. So we're going to use the duplicate function. So with this one, they're just circular. So let me press Ctrl 0 to zoom in. We'll come here, click on the, okay, oops, this is still selected. We'll click on the move tool, click outside the workspace, then right click here, click on the Ellipse Tool, then draw our small circles. Okay, so I might speed up this section of the video so that you can actually follow fast, but you can pause and see how it's done. All right, so let's draw. Okay, 3. Duplicate. Okay, this should be okay. There are about I think 3 of them. Yes. So what we're going to do is duplicate these 3, move them together. But we can group them just like we did for the original ones. So with this one selected, I'll come down to, where does it start? This ellipse. Let me click here. Okay. I think there's one that is not needed. Probably this. Let me delete it. Okay. Which one? This one, which is not needed. We did one twice. Yeah, this one is not needed, so I'll just simply delete it. So I'll come, make sure this is selected, come hold shift and click down here. Then afterwards I'll press Ctrl G to group them. Then I'll duplicate the group by pressing Ctrl J. Then with the group still selected, I'll press Ctrl T. Then I can drag down Then here should be okay. Let me see how it looks like in the flyer. About 4 times. So we'll do the same thing. Control J. With that selected, Control J. Sorry, Control Z to undo. So Control J, then Control T, drag below, Control J again. Did it work? No. Control J. Okay, then let's click on the move tool. Click on it again. Control J. Yeah, works. Then press Control T to drag a little bit down. Okay. Then I'll click outside here to make sure that it's unchecked. Then we need other ones over here. So now with those 4 selected, I'll just with this group 2 copy 3 selected, simply hold shift, come to group 2, click on it, and press Ctrl G to group everything into one group. Yes. Now you can rename it to gray circles. When you double click on it, you can rename to gray circle. Then I'll duplicate gray circle again. Then press Ctrl T. Then I can drag it like this. Let me use the arrow keys to bring it down a little bit. Yes. So this should be okay. You can change the color as you want, but I'm going to just maintain it this way. Yeah, for some reasons, yeah. Now, is that all? I think if I look at the shapes, the next shape we have is these shapes over here, which is a little bit quite difficult to do, but I don't know, I'm torn between. I can simply use triangles for this particular tutorial. So we just create a shape, a triangle shape. We'll come to the shape tool, right, left click, choose triangle, make sure nothing is selected at the layer side, then draw our triangle. Hold shift so that it doesn't get distorted. Just draw something like this. Then make sure the fill is the yellow and there's no stroke. Let's see how it looks like on the flyer. Then you can bring it down here. Remember, it doesn't have to, it can't be perfect. Then press Ctrl T with that still selected and rotate it a little bit. Minus 26.8. Press enter. Then select it again. Then press Ctrl J to duplicate. Then bring the duplicate one outside a little bit. Then use your arrow keys to move it a little bit. Yeah, I think that is okay. Now what I can do next is to bring, remember the model that we removed the background first. I'm simply going to, where did I save? I saved it at pictures. I'm simply going to move it down here. I'll move it here. Then I'll reduce the size. Oops, this has to be checked over here so that the shape is not distorted. I'll click on it, move it down, reshape it to say this side. With this one, you can also use clipping max if you want. So if with clipping max, I'm going to make sure that I select this shape that is a rectangle 3, then bring my model down to, okay, what was the name of the rectangle? Was it rectangle 3 or rectangle 1? Can't quite remember. Okay, let me place it here and click on it again. Rectangle 3, okay. So I'll make sure I look for it again, model, and bring it on top of rectangle 3. So many rectangles. Maybe you can choose to name them whenever you are doing it. It should be on top of it. Then afterwards, I'll right click, then click on create clipping mask so that when I resize it, it will be inside that particular rectangle and doesn't come out. So this way it should be okay. Now to our text, which is quite easy. I told you to use the Pessoa brands as your logo. So we simply come here. Where can I find Pessoa brands on my laptop? Pessoa brands, Pessoa brands. The should be folder, Pessoa brands. Yeah, there it is. Okay, which one? This logo 3. So I'll simply just drag it inside here. drag it inside here, resize it, resize, press enter, then move it on top here. Here should be okay. Then the next thing is women talk show. But I'm using a man, so right, men talk show, right? So I'll click here, write my text, change the color to yellow. You can simply bring the color picker here to change to yellow. Then the font I'm using is Barlow bold. I'll change the bold to black. But in your instructions, I told you to use Rubik, so you can still use Rubik. This is a very good font that you might consider using in the future. Change the text to men. Uh, Press Ctrl T and resize. Say here. Okay, you can bring it here. Okay, let me take a look at the flyer. Main talk show. It should be here. Here should be okay. Then I'll duplicate that. Then I'll type talk show. Talk show. Then okay, I'll bring this here. This looks weird, so I'm going to change it a little bit so that from the design that we have, man. Then I'll increase the man a little bit. Man talk show this way. Still doesn't really look good in the eye for me. Let's see. What do you think? You can use something similar, or what do you think about it? So you can also play around it, but there's no time for the purpose of this tutorial. I can just use this. Then I'll come to the shape tool, right click, make sure I have to just click on outside the workspace, make sure nothing is selected, choose rectangle tool, then draw it over the man. Remember, I'll simply come and change this the radius over here so that it becomes a normal rectangle. I'll click here, make sure it is so that the aspect ratio doesn't actually change here to 0, so it affects everything here. Then I'll drag the rectangle for below so that it is under the text and the main here. Then with main selected, I can come and change the color of main to black. There you go. Now what I'm going to do is to resize this rectangle. Select it, press Ctrl T and check this, then drag to here, drag this to there, then click on this. Then this still looks pretty ugly to me, but I'm just gonna go by it. Then afterwards, what is left is just the date 21/11. So I'll use today's date, which is 23/12/2021. So 23/12. Select on the text to come here. Change the black to bold or medium. Medium should do. 23/12. Then I'll resize it. Oh, it's being distorted. I'll click here so that the aspect ratio is actually maintained 23/12. Press enter. Let me see how it looks like here. Okay, looks okay. 23/12. Then I'll just duplicate it. Bring this down here. Make sure you pay attention to the alignment. Then I'll write 2021. Then I can drag. I think it should be okay this way. Then afterwards, I'll use this pen tool here. Click on it. Make sure shape is selected here. Make sure fill is not selected. Then stroke, change to black. Then click on the move tool again. Click on the pen tool again and come and simply draw. This is how you draw. I simply click on this line, then come down here and click another one. The stroke is 12.67. That's pretty okay. and it's black. So I'll click on the move tool to see how it looks like. That's pretty okay. I make sure that it's selected at the layer section so that I can move it around a little bit. Yeah, I think this way is okay. Then what's next to write? 07 p.m. So remember the deadline for this particular assignment is 8 p.m. So I'm going to write 8 p.m. there. So I'll just duplicate this. I like to duplicate. Then bring it over here. Then write 8 p.m. 8 p.m. is like 20. 00. Then oops, I'm supposed to use a column, not a semicolon. Okay, this should be okay. Then the PM, I'll duplicate this too. Then PM. I'll bring it over here, just like that player. Please pay attention to the alignment, so everything is perfect. Then the next text is 330 Winifred, what, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to type that one as well. So is there something else there? No, just that. So I'll click on the text to use the Barlow medium. This time around, I'm going to use bold. So click on bold, click anywhere here. I think here should do. Then I'll write 3309 Winifred. 3309 Winifred. Winifred Way Balsam NC. Winifred Way Balsam. Is it NC? Yeah. So this should be okay. Space here. Then I'll drag it over here. Is the size okay? Probably increase it a little bit. So I'll increase the size a little bit. This should be okay. Then I'll make sure it's properly aligned. Then afterwards we have the lorem ipsum, which is a dummy text. So I'll click on the text tool, then click somewhere here, drag, yeah, to create a lorem ipsum. So we don't want to let's use medium for the text property. So I'll change it to medium. Yeah. Then I'll simply drag it over here. Let me see how it looks like in the flyer this way. So I have to use a proper alignment. So we don't want to select it. I'll come to the to section and click on the paragraph. I'll use this. Yeah, this will do. And make sure it's properly aligned. Yeah, then this way should be okay. I'll increase it a little bit. So it matches, press enter. So this should be okay. Now we have the YouTube this thing, which is I can just duplicate this. I like to duplicate. Bring it down here. Then with this, I'm going to use www.personalbrands.com, which is a real website, by the way. You can visit it to read more about us. personalbrands.com. Simply drag it over here. Okay, let's change the address to somewhere. Google Road. Tamale. Yeah. Space. So Google Road Tamale. And this way is okay. And bring this text down here a little bit. What else is there? Okay. So I'll press Ctrl 0 to see how that looks like. It looks a little bit different. What's missing? Or what didn't we do? I think it has to do with the size of the flyer. that we used, I mean the size is always, so let's try to increase this a little bit. So I'll press this one here, choose the model and the rectangle together by pressing Ctrl and choose the model. Make sure both is selected, press Ctrl T, then I'll increase the size here this way, press enter. Then I'll change this, the rectangle, the radius. I'll change over here. So let's play with it. Let me change to 600 and see how it looks like. 600, 600, and here too, 600. Let's see how it looks like. Still not perfect. I changed to 700. 700. Okay, so this looks circular enough. So with this one, let's increase the size. So I'll click on the main, click on the rectangle, then holding Control, of course, click on the talk show, then press Ctrl T to resize everything. This should be okay. Then I'll press enter. Then first I can drag this personal brands. Let me increase it a little bit. This way should be okay. Press enter. The main talk show. Let me increase the size again. Select everything just like we did. Press Ctrl T so that I can move it around a little bit. Press enter. It should be okay. Now I can bring everything down here below a little bit, so I can click anywhere here and drag and fill this, so everything is selected. Then I'll use the arrow keys to move it down a little bit. Then afterwards I'll press Ctrl 0 to see how it looks like. Not entirely perfect, just like what they have here, but it is a design. Okay, we still have a plus sign here. Let's do that. Let's see how that looks. Let's draw a plus. There's so many ways to draw this. I can use the pen tool, stroke option selected, then I'll click here. Sorry about the call. Then hold shift so that the line is straight. Then click somewhere here. Then I'll press the move tool, select outside here. Then I'll select the pen tool again. This time I'm going to draw a vertical line. So I'll select somewhere here. Then I'll click here. Then I can select here. Where is it? I think shape 3. Oops. So I make sure that one is selected. Then I can drag it down a little bit to make sure. Not so perfect, but this will do for the purpose of the tutorial. Let me select everything here to bring it up here a little bit. Then just some little bit cleanup. Yeah, I think this should be okay. Yeah. What I can also do is to reduce the opacity of this, so I can select everything. You can see the way I'm dragging. I click somewhere and drag so that it envelopes everything there. Then I can come use the opacity, reduce the opacity a little bit so that it doesn't really show that much. 40% should do. And there you go. Our design, not so perfect, but that's okay. Things that we didn't actually do here, we are supposed, normally you should use the same color format as the logo. So probably we can do that. Let's just do that real quick. I'll click here. No, I want the shape, this rectangle shape. Change the color to this red here. So I'll click this here. Then use the fill this thing. When you bring it here, you see something like an eyedropper. Click here. And after I press OK, then it changes to this. The show tool, I'll click here. Then click on the color. Then bring the eyedropper, select the same color, bring it here. With this, I'll make sure everything is selected. Will that work? Let's try that and see. Everything is selected. Then can change it to this. Yeah, it worked. The same technique for this. I'll left click somewhere outside here, drag and drop, drag to envelope everything. Then I'll click on fill, change the color to this to the same technique. Then change the color to this. Uh, mm, with this one to the same technique, change the color to red. Then with this too, I can click on this rectangle first and change the color to red. Remember, this particular black, we actually rasterize it, so we can actually change the color exactly like we changed the others. So, and obviously it's black, so let's leave it as such. So the next unit is this one. I'll click on it, change the color to red. Sorry about the call. Last one. Then I'm going to click here and change the color to red. Now we have our design matching our logo. Simple as that. So please redesign this, and if you're watching on YouTube, kindly comment with what you have designed on YouTube so I can look at it. And if you follow my class for the design masterclass 1.0, you can send it to me via Google Classroom, just like we've discussed. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. If you have any comments, kindly send to me, and don't mind my wife laughing in the bedroom there. And hope to get amazing designs from all of you. Thank you, and have a great day, night, and bye bye. And remember to subscribe to the channel. Have a great time. Bye bye.